Hi everyone, this video is going to add on to learning about Chrome Canvas, specifically talking about how to use layers and rearrange them. Here is my example, and you'll notice that I currently have 3 layers. So I'm going to hide the top 2 by clicking the eye. And you'll see that this is my reference image. This is the portrait of the artist Salvador Dali. He's a Spanish artist from the early 1900s. The first thing that I started doing, which is based off of the video we had before, is we started adding color and filling in the basic shapes. I wanted to note something though. If we zoom in, so I am taking my 2 fingers and I'm zooming out on my trackpad. Do you notice how this red is a little bit different than this color red? And that's because when you are choosing a color, so if I go to my marker and I go and I choose the darker red, if I hit this button here, that allows me to change the size of my marker, but it also changes the opacity. Opacity is how opaque, meaning solid, is the color versus how transparent. So notice the default is not at 100% opacity. So what that means is when you start coloring, you are going to see that it looks like different shades of red because of the overlapping of semi-transparent colors. So I'm going to make it 100%. I'm going to undo, which you can click this back button or do the shortcut Control Z. And now when I come in over here and I start to fill in, you'll notice that it's all going to be the same color, and it doesn't matter how many times I go over the same spot, it's all going to be that solid color. So just keep that in mind when you are adding in the color for your piece. So now I'm going to zoom out, and I want to show you what I did. When you add another layer, you can add more details. So what I've done is I'm going to hide this second layer and I'm going to show my reference image again. And that's how I made his mustache. So I'll do the same thing with his eyebrows. So I'm going to use the marker. I'm going to change the size to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to make sure the opacity is at 100. And now I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right layer. The blue line will tell you what layer you're on. And now I'm going to start adding his very bushy eyebrows. So let's just leave it at that and see what happens. So I'm going to go back to layers. I'm going to unhide my second one, and you'll see that this one is now on top of it. And then I can hide it again. And I could go back in. I probably would take more time with this. I probably would change my pencil or my marker size. Now, let's say that I want to add a background. For the background, I'm going to add another layer, and I want to show you, again, I make sure that the blue selection is showing on the layer that I want. I'm going to choose the chalk pastel because it's a little different, and maybe I'll just choose a blue color, and again, I'm going to double check what the size and opacity is, so I'm going to make it the biggest. I'm going to make it as opaque as possible, and I want to show you that now I'm just scribbling all over the place, kind of just going really quickly to add a background in. And now what I can do is click the layers, click and hold, and I can bring it down. Do you see that blue line moving? I'm going to bring this all the way to the bottom, and now it's behind everything. So this is how you can use layers to play around with a background, adding a solid color, and also adding outlines.